7:18 now. For the second time, a young woman is facing criminal charges for encouraging someone to commit suicide via text message.
Fox 5 legal analyst Wendy Patrick helps us break down this case. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning.
This is bizarre. It would be more bizarre if we hadn't already seen this a few years ago. Yeah. What are the details of this particular case?
Sadly, Raul and Shali, the details are very similar to what we saw in the same state with the Michelle Carter case.
Really?
This is the case that was adjudicated back in 2017. In both cases, we're talking about when suicide is homicide. Both of these cases are similar in that they involve two young ladies who encouraged, insisted, coerced, persuaded their then boyfriends to take their own lives. They're dissimilar in a lot of aspects as well, but they were both charged with involuntary manslaughter. Remember, Michelle Carter was convicted of that charge, and this current young lady is set to be tried for the very same thing. Circumstances a little bit different, but again, it really just shines a spotlight on parents. Do you know who your children are talking to? I mean, thousands of text messages, sometimes up to 100,000 text messages.
Goodness.
How does your child respond after they're talking to a particular person? Are they withdrawn? Are they depressed? Are they anxious? I think we can do well to communicate with our children and really pay more attention to this. Two is too many, and who knows how many cases like this are flying under the radar.
No, because things have changed, Wendy, with social media. We don't know who these people are hiding behind their phones and sending these messages. But in this particular case, is this being treated as a copycat?
You know, Shali, in this day and age, I tend to believe that in a social media savvy world where everyone has seen every type of crime and the way it can be committed, that you might imagine that both parties had known of the Michelle Carter case, but you don't even need to say that it's a copycat to say it's a sign of the times, that people would rather text than talk. And when you have that volume of text messages, and remember, this is not impersonal, it's intimate because it's within a relationship, but it's also taking place within a toxic relationship. So we don't even need to know whether or not it's a copycat to know it's a toxic relationship that turned deadly, as so many abusive relationships do.
What charges is she facing now?
Involuntary manslaughter, Shali, the exact same charge that Michelle Carter faced. Remember that Massachusetts doesn't have an assisted suicide charge.
How many years did Carter get for that?
Well, she got 15 months. Of course, she's appealing.
Months?
I know. She's appealing her case to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But the Supreme Court's going to be called upon to interpret the same First Amendment concerns that we've been discussing for years. Wow. Words can be deadly weapons. The First Amendment doesn't allow you to say anything under any circumstances. There are limitations to what you can and can't say, criminal threats being one of them. This is another.
Shali brought up social media, but you got to think, over the last 10 years, so much new technology has led to new laws, and we're still not done. We're still trying to catch up with that. You consider how many times, okay, so these two ladies were sending thousands upon thousands of text messages, essentially brainwashing and convincing these people to commit suicide. But then you mentioned, how many times in the past have people been in abusive relationships where they've done that, but there's no paper trail, if you will, or a text trail.
That's right.
Of the same thing.
What a great point, Raul. It's exploitation of a pre-existing vulnerability.
Correct.
So many of us know young people and adults that struggle with
depression. Like they see that weakness and they
depression.
attack.
Yes, it's an area of vulnerability. It can be a relationship of a power imbalance and control, as are the allegations in this particular case.
I wrote down power, right?
Yes.
There's power over another person.
Absolutely, and those power dynamics, according to prosecutors, were at issue in this case in the same way they were in the Michelle Carter case.
Wow.
And I just hope to God it would be heartbreaking if we are here again next year talking about another case like this.
Wow.
So that's why I always say, you know, a call out to parents to communicate with your kids about what goes on over text messaging and to be as involved as possible. You know, you don't want to invade privacy, but you also want to save lives.
You talk about those messages and times have changed. I tell you, Wendy, the other day, my little 8-year-old playing with his little Roblox, I look over his shoulder and I see someone chatting with him.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm like, who are you talking to? And it made me stop at that moment and think how the challenge for parents today.
Yeah.
Parents have to be involved, and if this case is anything, it should be a wake-up call to exactly that. Parents have to be involved. Know your child's friends.
Yes.
That can only be a good thing.
Yes.
We could talk for hours about this. Wendy, thank you so much. We appreciate it.